Hi everyone, welcome back to my Elden Ring series where I make a build for every weapon in the game. In this episode, I'll be covering the ORDOVIS'S GREATSWORD. This weapon is a greatsword that requires 25 strength, 13 dexterity, and 15 faith to wield, and it scales primarily with strength followed by faith. It comes with a unique skill called ORDOVIS'S Vortex, which is a wind-up holy slam attack with our sword that sends out a shockwave and can be charged for extra effect. This weapon is obtained after defeating the Crucible Knight duo in Oriza Hero's grave outside the walls of Lamedale. The premise of this build is essentially to roleplay as a Crucible Knight, which are the imposing paladin enforcers of the lands between. This is a strength-based setup with a decent investment in faith as well, in line with the innate scaling of our weapon. As a Crucible Knight, we have immense raw physical power with a touch of holy magic bestowed by the primordial Crucible. I went with a pure melee playstyle that consists of two-handing our greatsword and overwhelming enemies with the powerful ORDOVIS'S Vortex skill. This skill, when charged, does insane burst damage and is excellent for staggering enemies as well. Some enemies can even be stun-locked by consecutive uses of the skill, giving this weapon some serious cheese potential if you are inclined to play that way. Additionally, we are very tanky with our Crucible Knight armor, allowing us to easily trade hits and tank through attacks when using our skill or when charging heavy attacks. In my offhand, I also have an unupgraded finger seal for the purpose of casting the Golden Vow buff incantation. I decided not to use the Crucible incantations, nor any other offensive spells for that matter, because the stats for this weapon are not really the most conducive to a setup that optimizes spell damage. If you did want to go for a comprehensive Crucible Knight cosplay and use the Crucible spells, I would recommend using the Claw Mark seal to benefit off both strength and faith, keeping in mind that the spells will not hit nearly as hard as our greatsword. For my stats, at level 150, I have 60 Vigor, 20 Minds, 28 Endurance, 60 Strength, 13 Dexterity, 10 Intelligence, 28 Faith, and 10 Arcane. Hitting 60 Vigor means we have a large health pool, and 20 Mind is enough to use our skill generously during fights, and 28 Endurance gives us plenty of stamina and equip load. As for our damage stats, the ORDOVIS'S Greatsword scales best with Strength, like I said. When two-handing, we start to get diminishing returns around 60 strength, after which I found it better to invest the rest of our points into faith. The ORDOVIS'S Vortex skill scales purely off of weapon AR, so we get the most damage with that of this setup as well. For my armor choice, I went with the full Crucible Axe set for the Crucible Knight cosplay. I love this armor set, it is very menacing and unique. This look really feels like someone who acts like a judge, jury, and executioner all in one. The bronze color, of course, makes it hard to combine with other sets, so the best fashion is to just use it all together. Plus, with our matching bronze sword, the full Crucible Knight look really comes together nicely. Now onto my talismans. I mostly focused on enhancing my skill damage, as well as incorporating some solid support talismans. I first have the Shard of Alexander for an outright boost to our skill damage, followed by the Godfrey icon for an additional boost when fully charged, which is essentially every time I use our skill. Then I have the two-headed turtle talisman for more stamina regeneration, and the Erdtree's favor +2 for more health, stamina, and equip load. For the Flask of Wondrous Physic, I am using the Opaline Hard tier for more defense, and the Holy Shrouding Crack tier for more holy damage. The Holy tier isn't the most effective with this weapon, since only about a quarter or so of our damage is holy, but there isn't really anything else that I wanted to use more anyway. And that is all for this build video on the ORDOVIS'S Greatsword. This is probably in the top 10 or at least top 20 weapons in the game, so you should definitely try it out if you haven't already, or even if you have, you should go and use it again. Here's an overview of my setup. Thank you for watching, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.